Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's insightful webinar featuring Exdion Insurance, a pioneer in digital transformation for U.S. insurance brokers. I'm Laura Roy with Insurance Journal, and we're happy that you're here. Exdion distinguishes itself with award-winning customer-focused AI products, solutions, and tech-enabled services. As thorough insurance professionals, they help their clients navigate opportunities all the way from assessment through customized solution implementation, delivering measurable financial and business outcomes. So let's get right to it and welcome today's presenters. First, we have Gary Session, Senior Vice President, Exdion Solutions Client Success Management. Gary boasts more than 39 years of notable experience as an operations professional, with a 33-year tenure specifically dedicated to PC insurance. And next, we are thrilled to have a thought leader from Insurance Office of America, Bob Peters, Chief Operating Officer. Bob is an insurance industry veteran with extensive knowledge and expertise in many areas, including enhancing employee performance, operational transformation, and delivery of new products and services for clients and team members. A fun fact about Bob is that he also holds a Lean Six Sigma Black Belt certification. Way to go, Bob. IOA is one of Exdion's esteemed clients, and Bob will be sharing their journey in harnessing the power of Exdion's technology to drive internal revenue and efficiency goals. So now let's delve into the details of how Exdion is redefining the landscape for insurance brokers with its cutting-edge AI solutions. Take it away, Gary.
Thank you very much, Laura, for that great introduction. First, I want to start off with thanking those of you who are here with us in the audience and partaking in this. Bob, I certainly want to thank you for making the time in your calendar, and busy calendar it is, to spend some time so we can get some of your thoughts and experiences and insights.
My pleasure. Thanks, Gary, and thanks, Laura, for that great introduction.
So, Bob, what I'm hoping to do is spend some time to talk about the journey we've had together, IOA and Exdion, and also to get some of your broader thoughts that we can maybe share with others in terms of the experiences you've had and what the future might look like for you and IOA, and what your activities are. So the first thing I'd start with is, from your perspective in leading the organization, how critical is use of automation and AI technologies to what you're doing today?
That's a great question, Gary, and I appreciate you asking. AI technology is a critical component of our intelligent automation strategy, and a tool that we've actually deployed several areas of our business for the past 3+ years. We're expecting significant disruption and change in our industry and business over the next few years with the advancement of AI technology. AI technology is all the rave today, rightfully so, and we're investing in the necessary foundations and skill sets to allow us to take full advantage of those changes.
Great. It's fantastic to hear. So one of the things I want to hear your opinion on is, as you talked about, the disruption was the word you used. One of the things that's hotly debated, or at least becoming more spoken about, is that move from what we used to traditionally do in terms of outsourcing, using human resources and manual labor and effort to accomplish things. Talk to me a little bit about your views on that versus kind of maybe that more disruptive route that you talked about that's new and using the technologies that are available.
Sure, yeah, and I do think there's a place for both in certainly what IOA is attempting to do. AI and automation technologies really offer the opportunity to reduce pressure in a number of areas across our business, including in creating capacity at the desk level for our people that reduces the strain, obviously, on our recruiting needs. I do understand that there's some concerns in the industry about AI, for lack of a better term, dumbing down our capabilities. And quite honestly, I think it's on the contrary. I actually think it's going to help us. I think it will enable a deeper understanding and learning of customer needs. And you're going to hear me say this a lot, Gary. It's also going to allow us to really swivel around in our chair and focus on the client instead of focusing primarily on widget processing. But I do think there's a spot in the future, certainly for IOA, for both AI and outsourcing, and the sky's the limit for what we can do.
So, Bob, as you made the decision and going down this automation and technology road, looking for partners, we're certainly glad that and I'm very appreciative that you chose to partner with us. Can you talk a little bit about what that process was and kind of what were you looking for in a partner?
Sure thing, Gary. Thanks for that question. To be quite honest with you, we weren't exactly sure what we were looking for. What we were looking for was a better solution for policy checking. Policy checking is the bane of any agency's existence, but it's a critical component of the value add for our customers. So we obviously looked at a number of different solutions, but Exdion's was certainly the most comprehensive, mature solution in the market. And boy, am I glad we signed on with you guys, because it has is the policy checking solution has exceeded our expectations as far as kind of ease of implementation and the way the program is evolving. But quite honestly, it was the launch point for a number of other solutions that we're able to co-develop with your team because of the flexibility that you guys show.
Great. Well, like I said, we're certainly appreciative of that too. You mentioned that policy checking is where we started. Let's talk a little about the implementation. That we've had the opportunity to replicate that implementation process a few times because of the other services you've talked about, the things we've identified that are beneficial to your team. Can you talk about the implementation process? What things you might suggest went well, or challenges, or things we've learned through that process?
Yeah, sure thing. The policy checking implementation process went exceptionally well. I would say a big part of that is the flexibility that the XDon team has shown, the flexibility of support, and also the willingness to listen. Very important for us. We are a different breed of cat when it comes to the type of agency we are, and there is some real special sauce, and I am throwing up the air quotes for that one. There is some special sauce that we bring to our client relationships, and Exdion was able to really run alongside us and capture that, so that we could roll out an AI enabled solution and get all the benefits of that without losing the look and feel of who we are. So that implementation went fantastic. And fact of the matter is, from a training perspective and helping us develop consistent processes, again, the XDon team was truly a partner and an extension of IOA instead of again, quote unquote, vendor. We found a real partner with policy checking and where we're going from here.
So one of the things I'm curious about, you mentioned a couple times. So I heard the phrase the spinning around in your chair. You talked about and being able to be client facing. Talk about some consistencies right there and the efficiencies you've gained. What are you hearing from your team, the people that are on that front line? They're dealing with customers every day. What are you hearing from them about how the technology and the things we've partnered on have played a role in what they do every day?
Yeah, and folks, anybody that has really adopted the tools are really excited about the tools. To this point, we haven't forced adoption on these, on all of them. Adoption with policy checking is very high, and as people get more comfortable with just the concept of AI, they're seeing in policy checking, we're getting policies checked now in a matter of days and hours versus months. And for an account manager, an account executive that really wants to be able to, again, swivel in their chair and focus on their clients, being able to deliver a fully checked policy to them within a matter of days, and sometimes in advance of policy effective date, whereas in the past it could be months after policy effective date. That is a big win for us. So the momentum is building, Gary, and that's why we've been able to jump ahead with things like forms compare and exclusionary language compare and a quote compare tool, all that were built off of the policy checking foundation, and all with the again, the support and the partnership of your implementation and development teams.
Yeah, thanks for that info, Bob. It's that I think yes, that initial momentum, if you will, that we started with policy checking certainly has carried forward. Something you and I have had a chance to talk about before, and I'm interested to hear maybe your thoughts, your insights, and your experiences with How has this impacted, if at all, what you're doing with your carriers, with your markets, any conversations you're having with them? Has this technology come into play there?
It absolutely has, and we, I would say, are kind of at the tip of the spear in the way we're using some of these tools, and the way we're partnering with our carriers to explain to them the power of the tools. Again, from a policy checking standpoint, there is just the fact that we're able to get at 100% of our policies, with a few exceptions, very, very complex items. But seems like day by day that number is getting smaller and smaller. And being able to share that with our carrier partners, I mean, even our E&O carrier for IOA, being able to share the impact and show quantitatively that we are absolutely checking all of these policies down to the really granular level, is just driving up confidence in our carrier partners. And that, quite frankly, they want to do more business with us. And they are looking at it as us being kind of forward thinking. And again, some of the other stuff that we've done building on top of policy check. Again, we have a number of our carrier partners that see us now as a peer in some of these AI initiatives, and we've been asked to step in and participate in some pretty exciting projects, all because of what we've started with Exdion 2.5 years now ago. That really was the foundation for us.
So, Bob, we've been spending some time talking about how our partnership began, what we're doing now, where we might take that. What I'd like to ask you now is to look into your crystal ball and where we're taking that. What does that mean? Where is it going, and how might we play a part in the technology services that you're looking to use?
Great question, Gary. And from my perspective, the foundations that have been laid with integrating the Exdion policy checking platform really has set the stage for our continued and really accelerated our maturation process in this space. We also have a pretty robust process automation team. As Laura mentioned at the very beginning, I am a Lean Six Sigma nerd, so an efficiency guy, and we've really invested heavily here. But I think partnering with Exdion has accelerated that, and has also set a really strong foundation for us to build off of. I think we're ahead of the industry, and are going to continue to widen that gap. But quite frankly, as far as looking in my crystal ball for an industry, I don't necessarily think that AI is the boogeyman that a lot of people do. I actually think it's just going to continue to enable us to become more client facing and become more trusted advisors to our clients, with our folks not necessarily mired in the weeds from a process standpoint. For a firm like us, where again there is some special sauce to what we do, being able to integrate more closely with our clients and really become an extension of their firm, much like Exdion is now an extension of our firm, that's a good place to be, and one that I'm very excited about.
So we've been talking about some of the efficiencies gained. You spoke about consistency in the process, the customer experience, things that have benefited from the technology we're using. As you know, we've been exploring and certainly exploring with you. How do we move that up to what you might call, front of the house or front office versus middle and back office, and do things that might help your producers who are out there face to face with your clients in their everyday world?
And my short answer to that, Gary, is the sky's the limit. Really, the back office, middle office work that we've done to this point really has allowed us to prove out the capabilities of AI within Insurance Office of America. We've been around 35 years, but we are still a young company at heart. And we really needed to prove out the concept before we could start taking it across the entire ecosystem, insurance ecosystem within the agency. The fantastic results that we've seen with policy checking and then into forms compare, exclusionary language, quote compare, has set that foundation. I'd be lying to you if I said I know exactly what the future is going to look like for our two firms. I just know that there's so much opportunity out there that we could get at, and with your help further upstream to really make things easier on our producers, continue to make things easier on our service teams. Again, sky's the limit, and I'm really excited about the potential and the opportunities that are going to come up as we grow this partnership and as we continue to succeed together.
Yes, looking forward to that. I'm going to jump into something else. Do you have now, or can you foresee, because we've talked about things that are happening now, also looking forward into the future. One of the things that you spoke about before was that there is some discussion of, wow, is this technology going to dumb down? I think was the term you used, dumb down my staff, my team, the folks that are my experts. And you said that you don't buy into, I think, what you call the boogeyman theory. Are there any things that you do foresee as, I won't say roadblocks, maybe challenges, any things that we're experiencing now, your team's experiencing through getting used to the automation, that becoming the norm?
Really and it's not even a roadblock. It's more of a speed bump, and it's a speed bump that's getting smoothed out with time. Internally, the only speed bumps that I see is continued adoption and continued confidence building in the tools. Again, our producers, I would match them up against anybody in the industry. A little biased, but I think we're the best of the best, and they hold on to that customer relationship very, very tightly, and they want to make sure that anything we do implement is not going to put that at risk. Whereas 3 years ago, when we first kind of brought the idea of policy checking via AI to the table, I can't say it was an easy conversation, but it was a conversation that needed to be had, and trust was shown in us and our CIO, John Woods, and we went ahead with it, and it is only building from there. So again, I don't see any roadblocks for us. I just see speed bumps, that implementations that we'd like to get done in a matter of months may take a little bit longer, but that's because of building trust. And quite frankly, I think our competitors in the marketplace that aren't taking advantage of AI, they're missing a real opportunity to provide a better customer experience. I will say this, from my perspective, there's nothing more important than that customer experience. And if I felt, or if the data showed, we were taking a step back from a customer experience standpoint with our net promoter scores and things along those lines, I would be the first to pull the plug. On the contrary, we're seeing improvements. And that's because it's a much more controlled and a much more consistent, repeatable process. Everything that we've implemented with you guys so far. And that's what excites me about our opportunities for the future.
You mentioned earlier, and you mentioned John, and we certainly are really appreciative of the cooperation and the collegial work we do with John and his team from a technology standpoint. That leads me to think about this. One of the things that is that we see in the marketplace is we consider ourselves, we're born and raised, if you will, in property and casualty insurance world. And then brought the technology along with the expertise we had already developed. One of the debates we're hearing now is the decision to go with what I'm going to call a general AI platform that you might bring into your organization versus what we think we do, which is highly specialized. We are here for your community, for the P&C insurance broker. I know that's maybe a question for John, and he and I will have that conversation soon. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on kind of that decision, those two things that are out there as options.
Yeah, absolutely. And I touched on it earlier. There is special sauce to what we do, and we think the ability to customize is critically important. Certainly critically important in our decision making. But a lot of the generic kind of horizontal AI platforms, they focus on, again, challenges that are more relevant kind of in the insurance underwriting, pricing, kind of claims management piece. Exdion is really ready-made and designed for the benefit of independent agencies. And then on top of that, the fact that we have the ability to customize, and we don't have to teach you guys the business. is really critically important and has been a big win for us. Again, we looked at a lot of providers and a lot of different firms out there. That's what sealed the deal for us, was the knowledge you guys have, or Exdion has, on the agency side of the house. But the ability to customize where we want to customize is critically important. And I will say, your team, the teams, have been real partners in helping us make those decisions. If there are areas where maybe we try to customize too much, and I'm sure you've heard some horror stories, Gary. Your team has been able to kind of direct us back to the right answer, if you will. And again, to me, that's a true partnership. We don't look at you guys and the Exdion team as vendors that are going to say yes to everything. We see you as partners that are going to point out landmines for us and point us in the right direction.
Well, we're definitely enjoying that partnership. Looking forward to more of it. So I'm gonna ask a final question, and I'm preface it by saying this is a highly competitive workplace. The business you're in, and you talked about your producers out there grinding every day, establishing those relationships. So I'm going to ask you a general question, but I'm not asking you to give away all of the secret sauce that you've talked about, or anything that's going to go down those lines. But what advice would you have for other insurance thought leaders that are out there that are making these decisions that, frankly, you've already made and started down the path and you have a vision? What about those folks that are maybe not as far along in that journey? Or is there any commentary or advice or counsel you would offer?
Sure. Yeah. And again, I'm not going to give away what makes us special, but fact of the matter is, to any of my peers out there that are going down this path, one, I would say, get past the hype, good and bad. First off, AI is not going to fix everything, nor is it going to break everything, or just kind of take people out of it altogether. With AI, you can pretty much do anything as long as you're thoughtful about what you want to do. And that, from my perspective, was really important on our side. With, again, I mentioned John Woods, our CIO, and a number of other folks here. We were very intentional with what we wanted to accomplish and the path that we're on. A lot of firms might shoot from the hip. They hear about the next cool thing, and that they got to have it. Fact of the matter is, early adoption in the AI world, I don't see a whole lot of benefit in it. So take your time, really map out what you're trying to accomplish, and then look for a partner that fits that. If you're looking for a partner that is flexible and will listen to your needs and will actually become an extension of your firm, I would say give Exdion a shot, because that's what's been most rewarding about this relationship for us, is the way we've been able to pivot, and you guys have been able to pivot with us.
Really, really appreciate those words, Bob. And with that, I want to say that I want to appreciate those folks who are listening to us, the audience out there. Certainly appreciate the opportunities we've had with you, the work we're doing with you now. We're really excited about those things you've talked about that were in your crystal ball and that we plan to be a part of going forward. And we're looking forward to all of that. Thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks, Gary. Good seeing you.
Thank you, Gary. And Bob, thank you for sharing about IOA's journey with Exdion. It was great to hear how this partnership really exceeded your expectations. And thank you to our listeners. If you have any questions for our presenters or to learn more about Exdion's AI products and customized solutions, please reach out to the Exdion team at info@exdion.com or visit exdioninsurance.com. A final thanks to Exdion Insurance for sponsoring this webinar. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone.